Hey guys, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it. My name is Hamlet Collado, PBX engineer at Vodia Networks. Here with us today is Eric Altman with Vodia and Nini Rodriguez with Cisco. We're very excited to talk about some new opportunities with Vodia and Microsoft Teams, and to hear from Cisco's about the latest and greatest Vodia compatible SIP phones for this solution. I will ask that each participant turn off the camera and mic while the presentations are being given. So let's get started. First, we'll hear from Eric Altman, sales engineer at Vodia Networks. Eric?
Thank you, Hamlet. We're going to go ahead and start off by just running through the agenda of what we're going to discuss today. So why Vodia Teams and Cisco? I'm going to talk about why the solution makes sense. Talk about the Vodia ecosystem, the Vodia Session Border Controller, SBC. Talk about deployment for remote users as well as cloud and LAN deployment. The prerequisites for setting up Microsoft Teams. We'll talk about Cisco EDOS, which is their remote provisioning service. Talk about provisioning the Cisco phones. Talk about some applications. We'll go over the license model and getting your Microsoft Teams license. So why Microsoft Teams and Cisco IP phones? Well, first of all, Cisco has a long history of making quality devices, and Microsoft Teams reaches 13 million users a day. So with large installations especially, there's usually a need for a certain amount of special devices. The CEO or top executives want to have the top of the line, nice looking full-featured desk phones, and Cisco fits the bill for that. If that is a requirement for really anyone in the company, then it becomes critical to be able to deliver that. Provisioning Cisco with Vodia is easy. And it's definitely worth mentioning that non-Teams members can have a registered SIP phone so they can call and be called by Teams members. So both the Vodia extensions and the team extensions can communicate with each other seamlessly. Microsoft Teams is now a landmark business platform. Microsoft's pushing it, and it's not going away anytime soon. Certain aspects are not really covered well, though. Interoperability with standard VoIP phones, termination with SIP trunks, integration with devices like paging or alarms. Direct routing in Teams opens up the possibility for integration, and Vodia is well positioned for this. Now, Vodia is a multi-tenant PBX, which means we can support multiple Teams integrations on just one instance of the PBX. In any Teams deployment, the customer will have a wide range of SIP trunk providers to choose from for origination and termination. And caller ID can be set to go out as the extension's DID if preferred. Vodia offers full PBX functionality with auto attendance, hunt groups and agent groups, IVR, time of day routing, etc. And even a built-in conference server where Teams and non-Teams members can join in the same conference. Teams members can also be a part of any agent groups or hunt groups on the system, even mixed groups of Teams and non-Teams members. And as far as IP phones on the system, the Cisco 3 PCC phones can be used with Teams Communicator for a seamless rock-solid solution. We all know that remote working has become the new normal. Cisco has great choices for high to mid-grade IP phones that can be used at the home office, allowing Teams members to enjoy voice communication in various forms. Whether it's Cisco phones, the Vodia Windows soft phone app, Android or iPhone app, or the browser-based portal, workers can communicate from anywhere using the app or device that they're comfortable with. Vodia caters to companies that are looking for that mix of phones, Windows and mobile apps, and collaboration tools. Let's talk about deployment prerequisites. First of all, you must own an FQDN, a fully qualified domain name. Port 80 must be open for Let's Encrypt domain certificates, and you need a Vodia MS Teams collaboration license. On the Microsoft side, typically you would have an E3 or E5 license with direct routing per selected user. Cisco third-party call control phones, 6800, 7800, or 8800 series. a SIP trunk provider, and to be hosting Vodia on your preferred cloud provider. You can see how it all connects on the slide. The user is a Teams user who connects through Teams to the Vodia PBX with the built-in SBC to connect to the carrier and gets all the features and functionalities from the PBX. We're also showing the Cisco enablement services, or EDOS, where the phones can be provisioned with zero touch. It's also possible to install the PBX in the LAN and still integrate with Teams. This makes the most sense when most of the traffic is actually in the LAN. There are existing installations out there, for example, Skype for Business, where installation in the LAN also makes sense. In these LAN installations, Cisco phones can easily plug and play. In fact, they're zero-touch provisioning even without the cloud redirection service. For Teams to work with the PBX in the LAN, the PBX has to be visible from Teams like it was on a public IP. So you still need a domain fully qualified. If you're planning on using the Let's Encrypt certificate, you'll have to forward port 80. The firewall has to port forward the port for SIP 5061, and the RTP ports need to be forwarded as well. You can follow our documentation for instructions on how to tell the PBX to present the public IP address to Teams. So what is EDOS? It's Cisco's cloud provisioning platform used for zero-touch provisioning. Providing a plug-and-play user experience, it automatically provisions the device with the Vodia PBX right out of the box. Here's just a screenshot of the login to EDOS. The provisioning is MAC address based and must be performed when the phone is on the latest firmware. We can even offer dropship provisioning with the Cisco phones. So here's how we get started. Note that only the Cisco 3PCC phones are supported on Vodia. First, the phone must be factory reset. In the Vodia administrator, the phone's MAC address is assigned to the extension. And to complete the provisioning, you'll click to Open MAC-based provisioning. On large deployments, though, it'll make sense and save time to use Cisco EDOS for provisioning. When provisioning is complete, Vodia supports Cisco buttons, things like BLF, presence and pickup, park orbits, agent login and out, toggling business hours, and many more. We also provision the background images for the 8800 series phone, the color screen. Now you can deploy Vodia as a service on your existing hosted account. The monthly recurring charges create a new revenue stream for your company. Then deploy the Cisco IP phones and ultimately turn your customers into subscribers. Microsoft Teams with Phone System connects to the Vodia SBC Session Border Controller, which is built into the Vodia PBX. Vodia connects by creating an MS Teams trunk. The Vodia PBX creates a dial plan for the SIP trunk so that Teams members can make outbound calls. A Teams user can receive inbound calls as well as be part of a hunt group or agent group. There's a wide range of SIP trunk providers that can be used with Vodia. You can have multiple SIP trunks as well for least cost routing and failover capabilities. You can also set time of day routing, and PSTN gateways are supported and can be used for termination as well. Now here are a couple of pertinent scenarios. In the case of a school employees can have Microsoft Teams collaboration. The classrooms can be on regular VoIP phones. The teachers could be on the apps or even their cell phones without the app. Teams users can do live and recorded overhead paging, so things like emergency call notifications can be done through overhead SIP devices. On outbound calls made through the app, teachers can use the caller ID of the school rather than their own. And outbound termination of calls is done through SIP trunks on the PBX. In a hotel, Teams can be very powerful for back office workers, and the Vodia PBX can address other hotel requirements. The hotel rooms can use hotel VoIP phones or analog adapters. The hotel employees can use Cisco DECT or desktop phones or WLAN with the app. There can be phones for public areas as well. The integration with the PMS, the property management system, is done through Vodia, and the PBX can even send 911 room location if necessary. This scenario here would also be consistent with nursing homes requirements or even campgrounds. With our license model, we've put together a partner-centric license model, which puts Vodia into the same boat as our partners. It's a seat-based model, like Teams and practically all business software that's sold by seats today. Our recurring revenue model enables service license package opportunities for our partners. This is going to lead to improved customer retention because it does go far beyond just reselling a license. The way it works, the hosted collaboration license is post-paid monthly per seat, while the CPE, the customer premises equipment license, is prepaid in increments of 5. So getting started with Vodia's team integration is easy. Download and install the PBX and use our free license code, 5TRYTEAMSJUL. That's also on our website. You can check out our Microsoft Teams documentation at vodia.com/solutions/MS-Teams. And you can download the PBX and see all of our searchable online documentation at doc.vodia.com/software. We're here to help. If you have a support inquiry, just send your request to support@vodia.com. You can also open support tickets at support.vodia.com/pound-signup. And all of our documentation can be found at doc.vodia.com. We also do provide deployment support, which is rare in our industry these days, but we feel it's beneficial and necessary to start our partner relationship off on the right foot. For more information on our Microsoft Teams integration, feel free to contact sales@vodia.com, and support again can be contacted at support@vodia.com. That's what I got for you. Stay safe, everybody, and thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric, for that great presentation. And now I will turn it over to Nini from Cisco. I'm going to stop sharing the link here, and then she will take over. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hamlet. Hi,
You're most
everyone.
welcome.
Can you guys hear me well?
Absolutely. Beautiful.
Okay. So let me share my presentation. All right. And can you confirm it's on presentation mode where you can see all my screen and not like, okay, wonderful. All right, so hi everyone. My name is Dirni Rodriguez. I go by Nini. I'm a business development manager here at Cisco. I'm part of the collaboration team worldwide. So I'm really happy to join this webinar with Vodia, which is one of our partners as far as the platform goes. So the agenda for today will be very, very simple. We're going to talk a little bit about what it means to have a modern communication. We will introduce the Cisco MPP phones. Then I will just give you a brief disclosure of why we think that you should add Cisco into your offering. And then we will just line up some of the MPP phones. MPP, just so you know, it stands for multi-platform phones. And just a quick clarification here, Cisco has two types of devices or endpoints. One of them is the enterprise phone, and the second one will be the what we call the multi-platform phones. So the phones that are connected with Vodia are the multi-platform phones. The other ones are for enterprise, and they basically have a specific software where you guys won't be able to use it with the platform that you're currently having. So what is happening right now here in the world and what we can see? So we have seen how business kind of like digitize and how the work style changes. And Cisco is a big pioneer of the future and how we see that the companies are changing. So if we remember before, we have a little bit of like a traditional environment many years ago where marketing will only talk to marketing, sales will only talk to sales, and so on and so forth. There was not like real communication among these teams unless it will be on the very executive level. Then we saw an integration of having a mobile processes and that changed everything because now everything is more agile, everything is more towards like innovating and adapting and communicating better between different teams. And I'm sure you can see it even within your own company where marketing now talks to sales so they can see how they're more effective, not only on the executive level, but also all the way to the worker or employee that is doing day by day. So we have seen all this change in the work environment, on the work style. And what we did is just do a little bit more research and develop phones that will integrate really well with these changes, right? So why Cisco, even though our target is to be a software company, we still try to make the best endpoints that will support different type of software, not only ours, but also the ones like Vodia, our partners. There are three data that you will see on this slide, and we did, as I said, we did a big research on it. And this is three important things that will tell you why you're still in this business. So it says that 71% of knowledge workers still make and take phone calls. So personally, I'm a millennial. I can get a lot of things done, having a chat or text messaging and emails and things like that. But still, every time there is like an important conversation, I will still make phone calls. And it is the same for everybody else that is in the workplace. So phone calls are important. The second one is that 65% of the people still make phone calls from a desk phone. So I have been in this industry, I want to say, not that many years, but about 7 or 8 years. And one of the things that I found is that people still use the desk phone. And I have heard for many, many years that, phones are gonna go away. We're only gonna use soft clients and maybe headsets are the new thing. But in reality, there is a lot of people that still are used of even their key system emulation and they want to have a voice over IP solution um, that can give that feel when they're making a phone call. So desk phones are still important. And then finally, 91% of the people still agree that phone calls are vital form of communication, and especially during business. What I have seen right now during COVID and these very strange times that we're living in the worldwide, um, is that not only phone calls with a desk phone, but also video calls with a good quality and a good phone can make a big difference and actually save you money from traveling expenses, etc. So that's why we created this Cisco multi-platform phone. We not only wanted to give the enterprise look and feel to our own customers and Cisco Cloud platform, but also we wanted to make it open for other platforms. So we have other partners like we recently acquired BroadWorks and BroadCloud, but we have partners like MetaSwitch and Vodia and Centile and why not? So we're open to Asterisk. And Vodia is one of those platforms that we did interrupt and we're very, excited to launch our phones with. Again, just to clarify, these are not the enterprise phones. These are the open SIP Cisco phones. So what Cisco did is brought all of their 8800 series and 7800 series. They changed the firmware and they make it available for um, for this open platform. So our idea is to bring this technology all the way to the SMB market, and we made sure that we also price those phones correctly. All right. So this is pretty much what a Cisco multi-platform phone is. Now, the next few things that I'll be talking about is why you should have Cisco in your platform and in your offering. And then I'll go over all of the devices that are already certified with Vodia. So why Cisco? I mean, it's definitely a good brand name to have uh, in combination with your offer. Like everybody knows Cisco. I always say this story of like my mom knows nothing about technology, but if I'll put different type of phones in front of her, she will choose Cisco because that's just like the brand name, just the same way that you pick up Kleenex for tissues, right? So everybody knows Cisco, and if my mom or grandma can pick a phone, they'll probably choose the same because it's what they know or what they have heard. Um, we have been in this industry of endpoint innovation for about 20 years. And also, we're the number one enterprise voice, have the number one enterprise market share company. There is really nobody else that have sold as many phones as we have, and not only in the enterprise but also in combination with the SMB. So we have shipped over 100 million IP phones, and our return rate is less than way less than 1%. So that will give you an idea that every time you partner with Cisco and you choose Cisco with your offer, um, it's a good partnership. Like that, those phones just don't break. Um, Prior to having the Cisco MPP phones, we had a Linksys acquisition that some of you may remember back in 2005. And those phones are still plugged into different OpenSIP platforms like Vodia, and they just work. I mean, they, they do not break, and people don't even want to migrate. So that will give you security on the investment that you make with the phone that you're pairing with on your services. So 95% of the Fortune 500, they use Cisco, and we just have millions of customers calling through a Cisco phone. Um, I live in Boston, but if you would check out the White House here in the US, they use Cisco phones. Even main TV shows, they will have a Cisco phone as well. Some of the cool things that we added into this portfolio was to make sure that we have high-end integration so we can give mobility to our end users. So we have phones that have Wi-Fi. We have phones that have Bluetooth integrated. Our phones also have accessibility in the sense that if you have a poor vision, you will be able to the phone will be able to read out when you're receiving a call and things like that. We also have, if you ever do a governmental project, we also have phones that are TAA compliant. So we have phones for everything, and the quality is amazing. Even though we make sure that the pricing will fit the SMB market. All right, so I'm not gonna ask for questions because I know that the questions will be afterwards, but let's go over the portfolio briefly. So under the MPP or the multi-platform portfolio, we have three different series. So the 6800 series, which is kind of like the entry level, low end family. Very affordable, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have a good quality. So it's very affordable. Um, the 7800 series, which is what entry level, the enterprise series had, and then the Cisco 8800 series, and this is when you start seeing color and an application that we call intelligent proximity, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. All right. So under the 6800 series, we have a very broad portfolio. I think this is the phone that I recommend the most for platforms like Vodia. Why? Because the pricing is sub $100 and it has a lot of features. And most of these phones are gigabit and has the perfect amount of lines for you and your customers. So I'll start from left to right. The difference between all of these phones, as you can see, is the amount of lines and the functionality that you will give to it. Like for example, under the 6851, the 6821 is just a very basic phone, two lines phone, four programmable keys. It's very basic. This is your phone that can be in a hallway or a phone that can be in a classroom and things like that. Then you have the 6841 and 6851 series. So both of them are gigabit phone. The only difference is that the 6851 will support a key expansion model, just like you can see on the all the way to the right, uh, 6800 CAM. CAM stands for key expansion model, and also that it will be a PoE phone. And then you will have the next two is the 6861. It's just like the 6851, but the only difference is that it has integrated Wi-Fi. This is huge because we have heard that a lot of service providers like you guys are spending money on wiring and cables, and the return on investment will be years for that specific investment. So when you have a Wi-Fi phone that is entry level, that is low hundred price, and I'm talking about US dollars, and it's a Cisco brand with 4 lines, it gives you a lot of room to to do a deployment that is really good. It is affordable, and you don't need wiring. This phone is very popular right now in Europe, and it's starting to get popular also in the US. So Wi-Fi phone, entry-level Wi-Fi phone. And then finally, the 6871 is a 6-line phone. Um, and this phone is a color screen. So from all of the phones that you see under the 6800 series, this is the one that has color screen, gigabit port. It's PoE, and it will also in the next firmware release, we're going to be able to attach a sidecar, just like the way that we did with the 6851, the way you see it on the right, the 6800 cam. So this is the entry level, and this is where I will focus most of my attention if I'll be you in integrating this specific portfolio into your offering. Now I'll go briefly over the 7800s, and I'll tell you why. Funny story about Cisco is that the enterprise phones that are not OpenSIP are the 7800 and 8800 series. So when we developed the 6800 series, what we did was to take the 7841, all the guts of the phone, the firmware, everything is the same, and we just changed the screen. So this screen specifically, if you see, it's a little bit black around the edges. Let me see if I can point out. Arrow. I don't know if you can see it, but it has like a little bit of um, bezel on the screen, and those have 4 magnets. You can pop out the bezel, and if you want, you can even co-brand that screen with whatever your the name of your company is. Um, So what we did, we just changed it to plastic, and that's how the 6800 series was created. We save money on manufacturing, and that's why the prices are perfect for the SMB market. So on the 7800 series, it's pretty much the same. It's still kind of entry level. So on the 7811, you have only one line. 7821, you have two lines. 7841, you have four lines. And the 7861 is the phone that we have seen that people use for key system emulation. So this phone has 16 lines and they're programmable. So you will be able to use it as a key system emulation. If you have customers that like Avaya, for example, or things like that, or Mitel, and they would like to move into Vodia with a phone that will give you that type of feature, this will be the perfect phone for it. It also has four programmable soft keys for it. And finally, we have just two more models. So we have the 8800 series, and this series is pretty simple. So all of it is gigabit. All of it all of these phones have 10 lines, and the only thing is that you gain something every time you go up the ladder. So from 8811 to 8841, you gain color on the screen. From 8841 to 8845, you gain Bluetooth and also an integrated camera. The Bluetooth here is really cool because it will help you connect a headset with your desk phone, but also it will help you peer your cell phone into the desk phone. So I'll give you an example. I have been in calls and I have work from home right now. So if I'm on the road and I take a phone call nearby, I'm doing an errand. Uh, I'll start my call on my cell phone, right? So as I arrive to my house and I'm walking towards my home office, the phone will ask me, "Hey, I can feel a Cisco device is nearby. Would you like to transfer the call?" This is what we call intelligent proximity via Bluetooth. And I said, yes, I want to transfer the call because for me it's easier to continue a conversation using my desk phone, especially if it is a video phone, than to continue it with my cell phone. So I'll click yes, and the phone call will transfer seamlessly to the desk phone. So this will give me mobility to, yeah, I can have a soft client on my cell phone, but at the same time, I have the flexibility to transfer it to my favorite Cisco device. With the 8851, you have um, all of that, and then you will be able to add two side cards next to the phone. So you can have BC lamp fields, BLFs. With the 8861, you have all that plus an extra side card that you can add for a total of 3 key expansion models, and it also supports Wi-Fi. And then with the 8865, it's really the phone that has everything, right? It will have an integrated camera. It will have Bluetooth or this intelligent proximity feature that I was mentioning. And you can also add 3 sidecards next to it. And also, towards the end of this series, you can have USB ports uh, on the back of your phone. All right, and finally, Cisco also has DACT solution. We have two different type of DACT. The one that I'm showing here is the coolest one that we have. It's called a multi-cell DACT station. So it works almost like a Wi-Fi solution. Um, you can connect up to 1,000 phones per base station. And instead of using repeaters, what you can do is just daisy chain your base stations, your DACT base stations. So let's say that um, I put one base station. Once it's losing range, I can connect the following base station and it will give me more range on a 360 environment than what a repeater will give me. Also, we all know that repeaters sometimes you lose the quality of the audio with connecting to base station or daisy chaining to base station. That doesn't happen. And then on the side of the handset will recognize that it's losing range out of the first base station, and it will pick up and get registered automatically into the next base station. So this is for very large type of deployment. We are going to launch a single cell base station with different type of handsets in about a month. So we have both options, but I think this is like a cooler version. If you guys ever have to do like a large warehouse or a big grocery store or store, this is a perfect solution for you, and it will give the best range and audio quality for your end user. So again, if you want to hear more about these phones, you can always go to cisco.com, go mp slash go slash mpp, and you can also contact Vodia. We have different partners where you can buy this from worldwide. Here in the US, we have two specific master resellers, 888 VoIP and Teledynamics. And also, I don't know where you guys are from, but in Europe we have couple, in Africa we have couple. So whatever you guys need, just keep us posted. We will connect you with the right people. So that's my presentation for now. Um, Hamlet, I don't know if you want to present something else or if we're gonna go into Q&A. Hello?
Hey, thank you, Nini. Great performance. I love it. I just copied a link here on the chat. Everyone can click on that and they can set their questions there. We will be able to see it and share it. So if you click on the link, https://slides.app.goo, it will bring you to Google Q&A. And there you can write your questions and we can share that questions with the participant as well. If you do not want to go there, you can submit your questions on the chat. And then we can answer your questions accordingly. So don't be shy. Ask us questions away. We love questions.
Somebody asked like how they can contact me for further information. I will give you I'll just type my email, my Cisco email here. So dearrodri@cisco.com. So just feel free to send me any type of questions you have. We'll be happy to help.
Okay, guys, I'm going to give you 2 more minutes to ask a question. Otherwise, you can send your questions at support@vodia.com. If you have any questions about the Cisco Teams integrations, you can also send support@vodia.com. And if you have any questions about the phones purchase or a vendor near you, you can ask Nini. She has her email there as well. Please save that so you can contact her with any Cisco questions you might have.
Hamlet, I see just 2 more questions, and maybe I can clarify it here out of the bat.
Sure.
So can a non 3PCC phone be refreshed to be 3PCC? The answer is yes, and if we want to do it the legal way, it's kind of expensive to change the firmware. The firmware, you have to flash it for like $100. I believe it's for 8800s, and I think it's $75 for 7800 series. So I really suggest that because these phones are less expensive than the enterprise phones, they're priced for the SMB market, it's better for you just to buy out of the bat the 3PCC version. That's my recommendation. The flash inside of it is uh, a little bit tedious, and to do it for just a phone or two, it really makes no sense. You have to involve a lot of partners and buy licenses and things like that. So I just suggest it's easier to go through a master reseller and get a discount for the 3PCC phones and move on.
Awesome.
That's just my recommendation. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining us today. Stay safe. And we will follow up with the recording of this webinar via email. And we appreciate Nini for taking time for us to do her presentation with Cisco. And we're super excited about the Teams integrations with Cisco. And we hope to see emails coming from you guys. Any questions you guys might have, please let us know. And with that, take care and have a good day.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye bye.